What's up, y'all? This is MVP with Juxtaposed, and today we have a special treat for y'all. We are going to react to a video that's between a young lady and a guy that we're dating, and that's all I'm going to say for right now.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right, it's been a while since we've done a reaction style video, so we figured why not? It's the right time. So this video was shared by Aaron to us in our private Discord, and feel free to join. Links in the bio. Got a plug. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. First off, my name is K Styles. I have my guest
co-host.
You're a guest co-host now. Like everybody doesn't know you,
right.
You know. But
MVP.
Yeah, MVP here. And we're just gonna jump into this video. I think the only way to start this is to go through the video, because if we sit here and try to set it up, it's not gonna do it justice. So let's
kick it off.
Let's kick it off.
You guys had sex.
I'm telling you we didn't.
I met Corbin when I was still in college. We vibed right away.
It was hard to do long distance. We wanted to make it work, but there was just too much jealousy.
Eventually, I suspected that Corbin was cheating on me, so I hired someone to seduce him.
But I never cheated. I miss her, and I think if we can
Off the
trust each
bat,
other,
that's
we
crazy.
can really have something special.
Seduce
I want to
him?
see if she'll give us a second chance.
So are you ready to be honest and tell me that you're cheating on me?
Is that how we're gonna start this off?
Yeah, that is it. We haven't talked about it yet.
Mad
I
aggressive.
didn't cheat on you.
I know that you did.
How do you know this?
Because the girl you cheated with, I paid her $50 to hit on you.
Why would you pay a girl
pause?
to talk to me? That's some crazy.
You were giving off horrible energy.
So
What? You already got thoughts, huh?
I was trying not to interrupt, but she paid this person $50.
That's a good deal, right?
You paid somebody $50 to see if your person. So you didn't break 100. It wasn't worth 100 to figure out how much it was.
Something slight. $50.
You can't even go out for dinner for $15.
Yeah, that's not gonna work around nowadays. But
You can't get anything
The
from
fact that-
Cheesecake Factory for $50.
the fact that
Sorry.
she paid though,
Is that a good thing? Is that like commendable?
not commendable, but like dedication.
It-
Like,
I-
because I don't want to just like get some person like as a friend or whatever to do it. I want to make sure that you take your job seriously. So I'm gonna give you $50 to take the job seriously.
No, but come on. If somebody asked you to help them move, and it's like, hey, I'll give you $50, would you do it?
Like my friend, I probably wouldn't accept $50 from my friend.
Okay, somebody that you're not close to, because they're not clearly not close.
They're clearly not close. Yeah, I mean,
You would accept $50
well,
to move a 3-story house.
probably more money would need to be
My
involved.
point being,
Okay.
is that the person you paid was such a low bar to entry.
Mhm.
You're getting cheap work.
But then again, I'm like, does she have a portfolio of
you know,
seducing men? Like, is there a portfolio somewhere I can see?
I just want to know what the exchange was. Hey, I need to see if my man's cheating on me. Here's $50. Go holler at him. Like, what? That's crazy. $50? I'm sorry. She could have done better. Continue.
And then I'm like, maybe if he was on the unattractive side, it would have been more money.
So you need more to...
Like, what does he look like? Oh, okay, give me like 150, please.
I just think $50 is too low.
All right,
Go ahead.
all right, cool.
And I had a series of events leading up to that.
A series
like
of
you
events.
flirting
or-
with other girls, you eyeing other girls.
Who would I ever flirt with?
Oh my gosh, all the girls at your gym?
You're not at the gym, so how can you say I'm
On
flirting with them?
Instagram. I've seen it.
Try Pantene Nutrient Infused.
What do you mean?
You're over there
That is
liking all these
random.
girls' Instagram pictures,
That's
your
random as hell.
workout buddies with all these different girls at your gym. And you're literally posting thirst traps like ab pics, like, oh, like.
I'm a trainer.
Oh.
I have a fitness Instagram.
Okay, stop it.
So when I
Stop,
see
stop.
other people
We're
that
not
have
gonna be able to
fitness-
get through this whole thing.
No,
because-
we were reacting in real time. So-
Because you're posting thirst traps, you're here working out with other women. You're a freaking trainer. This is literally what you're supposed like. Unless what is he supposed? Is he just be training? Goats? Like should he have goat pics on his thing? Like,
First of all, I didn't know guys can post thirst
I
traps.
mean,
like we can do that.
apparently.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't like, yo, this is like. Is
He said, look at my abs that I worked out for. Like, I'm so confused.
And he's a trainer, which I love the fact that he put that right, like that, like shut down her whole
There's no argument.
argument there.
The argument's
right?
over.
Like, yes, he has to show progress. He has like if people want to.
He's a trainer. You know,
So what is the science behind her thought right now?
you know what? He said that there was a lot of jealousy, and it looks like it's just a jealousy fueled
So
conversation.
take the ad pics down. That's what I've
This,
got from this.
you know, we had the conversation about Jonah Hill. This
Yeah.
is not even that.
Yeah,
This is not even that. If she was a surf instructor, then you could have had the argument. She wasn't. She was just surfing with random dudes, right?
mm-hmm.
This guy is a trainer. And then somebody's going to be in the comments and say, look at these chauvinistic males who are looking at this from their point of view. But I'm like, if I'm a pilot, I might take some pictures in a plane. I'm just saying, you know what?
with your shirt off.
Well, you know what? If it's allowed by the plane, it might be, you know, I might make it on a calendar or two, you know? So, anyway, continue. I'm going to stop talking.
No. When
I'm
you
trying
feel
to.
like you want to jump in, jump in.
I'm going to try to.
All right.
So you're gonna
It's
like,
called
oh,
building them up.
sexy girl, oh, whatever, you're so sexy, you're gonna like that?
It's
Yeah.
for work. It's innocent flirting and help me get clients to continue to make money.
What is like
So he did say it's innocent flirting.
So he confirmed that it was flirting.
Yeah, I think he messed up.
He screwed
That
himself there.
He double dribbled. He traveled just now. Like,
Well-
is there such thing as innocent flirting?
That's a good question. I mean,
We can dive into it
yeah,
afterwards. but
we'll put that as a question later. Is there anything as innocent flirting?
All right.
When you're in a relationship.
when you're in a relationship,
Yes.
and his reasoning because of his job.
Yes.
respectful in a relationship. Like
Trusting the
those
person
guidelines.
and not paying somebody to see if they would cheat.
But it happened.
Not true.
You went on a date with this girl.
It wasn't a date.
She literally told me that you took her out to eat.
No.
Yeah, and you guys hooked up. You can't sit here and deny that.
I am denying because it's not true.
Okay, sure.
She's a client, and after we were working out, we got food, which was across the street.
That's
where
not
we
what she
walked.
told me.
That's what I'm telling you.
She told me you guys had sex.
I'm telling you we didn't.
So are you saying she's lying?
I'm saying she's lying.
Let's find out from her.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
my God.
All right.
Ugh. Go ahead.
His amount of confidence right now
I mean,
suggests to me that he is not lying.
yes, but people argue about being truthful all the time, and they're lying. So he really has nothing to stand on.
He has nothing to
at this
stand on,
point.
but his word.
But
right?
his word, and according to her, she doesn't trust his word. So
But she trusts the word of someone she hired for $50
she got a task rabbit to cheat,
to seduce. I love
to
the fact
seduce-
that she used the word seduce.
seduce
him.
and she was happy with the results. She probably gave her, good-
But a
good-
tip, like
What is a tip on a
was it
$50?
15%?
Listen, to this, she got
Gratuity?
she got an Uber cheats for this guy. That's what
Uber
that's what-
cheats.
All
That's
right,
wild.
so I'm gonna stop.
That's wild.
Paula, can you tell him what you told me?
So I pretty much told her that you took me to this really fancy restaurant, and afterwards we went back to my place and hooked up.
And that he came on to you in the car and you guys were kissing.
Yes.
Yeah, see?
Why would you sit here and lie?
I lied because
So you weren't telling the
Wait.
truth?
Whoa!
I didn't think that she deserved you, so I lied.
Oh my
God.
Wow.
Clearly, she doesn't value the faithful, amazing man that you are. I thought, maybe I have a chance because
So you thought you had a chance with him, so you're trying to home wreck us
don't
so
change
that
it.
you can be with him?
Wow.
Thanks. She lied to my face.
And what have I been saying?
Hello?
All right, well, I'm sorry for doing that and making it go that far instead of talking to you about it. When I feel like someone's pulling away, I'll just pull away too. We were long distance, and I see you liking all
I need to
Instagram
stop.
girls' pictures, and you were not texting me as much, not calling me.
Hold up. So she didn't check her resources?
She did no background checks. She didn't check for past history work.
Because now she's trying to clean it up.
Of course, because first of all, I just find it hilarious that the girl was just like, "Yeah, I lied." I was like, "You didn't even."
Straight up.
But I feel like she was still trying to get to homeboy. She's like, "Oh, I'm trying to let you know you're a better." Like literally,
Yo, that was shady.
yeah, 100%. That was like some chess move stuff there.
Yeah,
and
I don't think she deserves you.
It's like, wow, the faithful man you are. And I'm like, wow.
I'm like,
okay.
yeah, tell us some more. Tell us some more about me and how awesome I am. He just, see, he was cool with it though.
Yeah.
He had that face
He
like,
didn't pull it. You know what? I respect his calm demeanor because
Yeah.
in that moment he could have gone full Maury and or Jerry Springer
it
and
was like-
run all around this
run-
play. He was calm. He's like, what have I been telling you? Like, I respect that.
and now she's trying to clean it up. So let's see if she can clean this up, man.
It's working a lot, but that doesn't mean I'm cheating on you.
I'm really sorry.
I mean, I appreciate your apology. It takes a lot to apologize, especially, after all of that.
What?
I didn't fully understand.
It don't take a lot when you've been caught red-handed wrong.
I mean,
He's trying to make her feel, because that awkward silence right there was like, there's really nothing else to say. You have nothing else to say but sorry.
yeah.
Everything that was going on. But now that I do, it clearly makes sense as to why you were so upset, and it really just comes down to a communication issue. And that doesn't seem like a good enough reason to throw everything that we had away. I miss you so much.
Yeah, I miss you a lot.
She lying.
Damn.
Look, see?
Being awkward.
She lying.
I want you to give us a second chance.
Honestly, you're so cute. I feel like I should be asking you for the second chance after all of this bullshit.
So is that a yes?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to try again.
Bro.
Oop.
Bruh.
What are your thoughts? I'm gonna let you go first. I've been doing a lot of talking.
So it's interesting that he started with the whole like making excuses for her. Like, yeah, since you felt that way and the distance, because she said when I feel like someone's pulling away, I pull away.
Mm-hmm.
And so in his response to that is I chuck it up to communication issues. And I'm like, okay, but she still did some shady stuff by paying someone to seduce you. And even as he's like, trying to salvage the situation, even she said, hey, I feel like I'm the one that should be asking you for a second chance. So, because even when she was like, I miss you, I didn't sound believable. And you saw how his face turned. Because even he felt like she was so embarrassed. Her ego has been so hurt.
Yeah.
That I don't even know if that was the right time to even talk about the second chance. So we can start there.
So many things. So for one, I thought it was interesting that he would want to go back, especially knowing that she did this. And knowing that literally it's going to be a space that you have to build that trust up. And I feel like after trust is broken on any place, it's like if you take a piece of paper and you crumple it up, no matter what you do, it's very unlikely that you'll get it to be a flat piece of paper anymore, right? Like it's just impossible.
That's pretty good one.
Oh,
by the way.
highly impossible. I mean, I guess if you wet it and dry it, but even then it loses its structure.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's
a wrap.
like it's never gonna be exactly what it was before, and clearly it was already like a space of lack of trust. So I look at this and I try to figure out like how they're gonna be able to go forward. Right now, they're he's looking at it like, oh well, I see. Like, I still have feelings for this person, but unless they move into the same space, because it sounds like they're still long distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, unless they work on their communication, I don't see how they're going to fix this.
This levels to the part of like, hey, you didn't trust me and you tried to get somebody to seduce me. So I'm like, at any point where you think I'm pulling away, you're gonna try to get more people to seduce me.
Well, anyway, anytime that you think that I'm pulling away, you automatically assume that I'm
I'm
cheating.
cheating.
That to me is not even like the means to the end is terrible, right? Like what she did to get to that sucks. But the fact that you thought that it was a good idea to go and get somebody that was a client, much less. It wasn't somebody that was even her friend. It wasn't somebody that she said like, oh, like she trusts in order to get this opinion. But she took the words of this random person that you saw him as a client of his. So you're potentially messing with his business now because of your jealousy.
True.
How can that ever be repaired? How can it ever be fixed? Like I don't see it.
I think she need to get a refund. She need to get her $50 back.
I don't think she's getting a refund, man.
I'm like, bro, like I paid you $50 to seduce this dude, and you gonna lie to me, your employer?
I mean, she just, you know what? She got dinner and she got paid for it.
Dang.
She got paid to do what she was. She probably got a free gym membership, gym session out of that. Because how much are you charging an hour?
Right. If he's doing this as a business.
So
and then
crazy.
if they did break up though, right?
It sounded like they broke up.
It sounded like they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I was gonna say then she could have swooped in, but maybe she just wanted to. I think there was a lot of hate going around in that whole. I think the chick that she hired was hating on the chick, that hired her,
of course,
because she's like, "Oh, you got a good dude." Even if she doesn't try to get on it, she's gonna mess up what you got. Because it doesn't sound like the chick that was hired actually tried to get the dude after they broke up.
No. So
see the hate behind that? It's just
it was a goal.
Huh?
What was the goal? You didn't even achieve anything. You just got $50.
You can't have him. Like if I can't have him, you can't have him either. Because this is a good dude.
That's just
so put that on one bucket, right? That's just wild to me. Then you got him on the other side. Now I guess he's just because they said they didn't talk about it.
Well, it sounded like they probably had arguments about it, but they never like actually. At the core, this is a lack of proper communication.
Mm-hmm.
They're just terrible at communicating. And it's evident because she was willing to trust the words of some random person. And I'm willing to argue that it's a random person because she was so upset. Why would you do this?
And she hung up
she slammed the laptop down out of frustration. So
that is embarrassing, bro.
Kudos to whoever produced that, man. That was a good. They found a good story because I mean it was very interesting. But the truth, I don't think there's anything to rebuild there. I don't think there's any space to rebuild anything, in my opinion. But
because when we say the lack of communication on their part, it doesn't seem like it's a they, it's a her.
Well, but
because how would he know that she thought he was cheating if she didn't say nothing to him about it? Instead, she went and hired somebody.
Well, I don't think that's the case because she said he said that it was like the relationship was full of jealousy, which means that they had some communication about the fact that she was uncomfortable with the stuff that he was doing. But also I feel like it was clear that he was doing that, like what he was doing was related to his job. So it didn't seem like he was doing. We have no facts on this, but it didn't seem like he was out there doing anything egregious.
Well, that brings us back to the innocent flirting.
Yes.
Is there such thing as innocent flirting? And then what is innocent flirting? Oh, you look nice today?
I think there is when it comes to sales, there is definitely an attempt to pair people who you think would be attracted to the person in order to get past the defenses, right? Like, I look at the people who hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'm always like, why did this person? Why, of all the people assigned to like our account, why is this person the person that's reaching out? Right? Is it just happenstance that the person looks like? Literally, if I go down my LinkedIn, a bunch of people look exactly the same and they try to sell me stuff. So is it possible that is a thing? And knowing that, like, at the core, sex is a motivator for a lot of people, right? Like, somebody's attractiveness will make you tolerate a little bit more than other things from other people, I guess. So I wonder if that's a thing that, like, is a part of. Actually, I'm not a wonder. I know that's a thing that's a part of sales.
Yeah, because I mean, I've even like I'm talking about movies, like spy movies, where they're like, hey, you know, if they have a team and then the lady on the team, they're like, hey, get dressed all sexy and go. And then they go in there and it's like, I think he likes guys. Hey, Bobby, come on out here.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your nice suit on. So, like, it works both ways.
It does.
And I'm like, when it comes to the Instagram thing, is liking someone's picture flirting?
I don't think so. You know what's interesting? Because I feel like there's a different feeling between men and women when it comes to that on Instagram. Because I think that I remember seeing a video somewhere and the guy was talking about, like, I don't really like, I see all of this, but I'm just liking it. And the woman was like, oh, you only like chicks with BBLs and, you know, the big tits and all that stuff. And he's like, I mean, I'm liking it. That doesn't mean that I want that. It's literally, it's a weird divide. And I feel like there's a larger conversation. Because I do feel like to most men, that's just like, oh, this is interesting. And to women, it's like, oh, you actually like that. Or you're interested in that because it's all you're seeing. And I'm like, not really.
Do you remember back in the day when Instagram used to have a tab that showed you all everything that person liked?
One of the best things they got rid of, man.
I think they got rid of that for that exact reason.
It's one of the best things they got rid of, man, because I'm sure it created so many issues that were not actually issues as a result of, like, oh, well, you like this. This is your type.
It was easy access. You can literally just tab it and see all the likes. So I'm wondering, how is she seeing the women he's liking now?
This may be old, so it might have been that.
But this is only like a couple years.
I mean, I think it was a Snapchat story, so that it would have been around that time period. So,
well,
it's highly possible.
I do know that if I'm following somebody, they following me, and I see a picture, you can see that your friend liked it.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's a now thing. I think if you think back, like, if we go back with the idea of what it was before, where you literally could go, I can go into your thing and see everything you liked. I'm assuming that's how. Other than that, if not, she's doing a lot of research.
And that's why I'm like, I feel like she's doing research.
She needs,
because I feel like she mentioned she was like looking at comments. I think he might have commented on something. So she looked through comments to see if he commented, and then took that as now once you start commenting, I'm like, maybe that is flirting at that point, right? But liking is one thing.
It depends on the honestly, and it depends. And people are gonna say, "Oh, well, because you're a man, you're looking at it this way." No, I think it depends on both sides what the interactions is. It's like someone you could interpret that. Well, you said, "Oh, that nice, great form."
Yeah, that's what he said. He was saying to kind of boost up like his clientele.
And someone could assume that by that he's saying, you know, oh, he's trying to open lines of communication or what. I don't know. I think all of it, there's a lot of, this could be a thing. This could be a thing that she literally took and went to the extent. And the funny thing is, she's saying that she pulled away. And I'm like, I don't feel like you pulled away. It looks like you dove deep into the jealousy and assuming that this guy was out there doing dirt, to the point where the girl you paid saw that he was a better man and she didn't deserve. Like, that's wild to me.
Crazy.
That is just wild to me. And honestly, that tells you a lot about the mentality of someone who takes $50 to cheat, to set up your dude to cheat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's true. All right. So now let's get into the part of simping. When that happened, should he have been like, okay, let me get a second chance, even though it looks like he didn't do anything wrong?
Well, I'll pull out a Uno reverse card and ask you, what would you do in that situation?
In that situation, I think I would have been pissed off because there's multiple. One, I don't know why you think you can have somebody seduce me. Like I'm a weak-minded person, right? I got a girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what the other person is doing. I'm not gonna break that loyalty, right? The second part is it's a couple parts. You didn't believe me when I told you, nah, I ain't like that. Because if I needed to cheat, we should just break up, right?
Mm-hmm.
She should understand his demeanor and who he is as a person, right? And it seems like the other person that she paid saw that. So how is this person who only been here for a little bit saw that, and I've been with you and you can't see it? So I'm already like, she needs to convince me to take her back. Cause I would have been like, yo, hey, let me get, hey, when this show was over, you smart. I like you. Maybe we should go on a real date. You see what I'm saying? Like, but to go straight and even to go straight into it, maybe give some time to think about it too. But he went straight into, oh well, I didn't like how he was too quick with it.
But this is an edit, right? So we don't know.
Because I mean, there was some mad awkward silences.
Yes.
Like,
and then 2, the fact that they agreed to come and do this show means that there was potential of something, like fixing something, right? Because if I was over somebody who did something like that and my ex was like, oh, or whatever, when the show was propositioned in one way or the other, I'd never be like, I'm good. I don't really care. I'm, like if she thinks that, then I'm good.
well, I think if this is anything related to Jerry Springer, I think that she was bringing him on there to expose him.
Probably.
Like, hey, you've been lying. I'm about to catch you in a lie. So with that being her reasoning, and his reasoning is, hey, I'm not lying. So bring on the accusations, because at the end of the day, you're going to find out I'm not lying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if she's bringing him on there to expose him and embarrass him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Automatically, she should be the one asking for the second chance.
I guess, but if he he knows that what he's been dealing with, right? Because he knew he the conversation or the retorts that he had sounded like someone who's had these conversations before, right? His response to the stuff didn't sound like, oh my God, why would you say this? It sounded like you knew what you were dealing with and you were willing to deal with it, and you were willing to deal with it again, because the fact that you're willing to take her back after that means that you're comfortable with dealing with her level of insecurity. So that's the thing. But you didn't answer the question. What would you do?
I told you.
You would try to holler at the other chick?
Yeah. I would be like, hey, let me get your number, man.
But you have a strong not fraternizing with your work people. And this is a client.
So okay, jokes aside, I would have been like, fuck you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, straight up. Like, right. I don't like the playing the game. Like, I don't like the seduce. Like, that's too much game for me.
But this is somebody that you love. Somebody you're in love with, and they created a whole narrative based on some false pretenses that, however they came up with it, right? A false pretense, and they didn't trust you. But now they have the evidence that you were telling the truth.
I still would feel some type of way because the whole trusting me part is a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
You literally paid someone to backdoor me. I don't play around with that. Like you're the type of girl who would get dudes robbed.
I don't know if we went a little far with that one.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
saying, like, there are women who will be in your face, like, oh, I like you, da-da-da-da, and then they go on the phone, hey, his address is this, I'm gonna leave the door open, come in there, rob him, and stuff go down.
True.
So if she is allowed to think the most when I just like and comment on things, then I'm allowed to think the most when you pay somebody $50 to try to trap me.
What if it was $1,000? Is that better?
It doesn't matter. It could be for $1.
I'm joking.
You know what I mean? It could have been like $1.50. You're putting someone in place to like trick me.
Yeah.
Why would I want to be with someone like that? Even if I love you, I'm like, you would have to do some convincing for me.
Yeah, but as I said, I think there's at the core of this, there's a little bit of toxicity. Because I mean, I think in his employee, he was like, there's a little bit of an ego boost because he's been right. He's been right. Yeah. You get to prove him right. And now, I could see him bringing that up next time they have something. see, like last time you went off like this and you were wrong,
Mhm.
right? So I can see him doing some of that. As for her, it's one of those things where I think it's very hard. It's gonna be very hard. Like I would love to see like this is 4 years ago. I would like to see they're still together because it's possible with maybe some counseling or some therapy or something to get better communication habits there, right? That could have led to less of these issues. But at the same time, I mean, this is also publicized. I mean, like this was on TV, right? Or Snapchat or whatever. People saw it enough for us to even be having this conversation. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What would you do?
Honestly, I don't. It really depends on the person, but I really don't see myself going back to that, knowing that you paid somebody to see if I was telling the truth. Because to me, that there's the level of trust has beyond the threshold of ever being repaired.
Mm-hmm.
When next time, now I'm gonna wonder, like, next time I don't answer your call, you're gonna send somebody else. Like, it just, I don't feel like, honestly, anywhere you could build anything solid on that. That is a building on quicksand, bro. It's gonna fall.
So is this adjacent to people who get cheated on and then take that person back? Like that trust has been broken, right? But I've seen people take someone back after cheating on them. And so I'm trying to put those two together, juxtapose them.
I see what you did.
And I'm like, people, if they're taking that person back, right? That trust issue is always going to be there.
So I think a lot of times when you see people break up and then get back together, it was like, or not break up, if there's somebody cheated and they take them back. A lot of times it's because it's the person or the space that you feel comfortable with that you're returning to. So like, what do the kids call it? Spinning the block these days. Like, I think a lot of times people are willing to deal with the devil they know than something that's unknown. So if there's if there's a person that did something wrong, but you could justify the fact that, well, they did this wrong, but at their core, they're still a good person. They know exactly how I like my coffee in the morning. They know how to, make me happy, all of these things, versus trying to find that with somebody else. So you're willing to tolerate a little bit more. So in this case, I guarantee that's probably part of what's playing a part in this dude's decision to want to go back to this.
I think that's a good point.
But at the same time, I'm sticking steadfast on the fact that, like, they're doomed for failure. They're doomed for failure. Because if all the parameters are exactly the same, but even if they were, like, even if they weren't, like, if she now moved into the area he was, so they're not doing long distance, she's gonna be worried every time he goes to the gym. Every time anytime any women are around him, she's gonna be worried about that. What's gonna change now that she happened to get one person who was kind of doing her dirty and got that exposed? What's gonna change for her now?
Yeah,
I don't see anything.
Yeah, that's gonna be an issue because maybe she just picked the wrong person that's not his type.
It could have been, or it could have been like this dude, like you said, like I don't like doing anything with anybody at work. And this is a client, much less, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to create the reputation that you're just out there diddling all your clients, right? Like that's probably not a good look as a trainer, right?
Yeah,
so
that's not gonna look good.
So it could just be like this man, stands on business and he didn't want to jeopardize his business. So that's the thing.
He might have been in the back. See, now I'm getting messy, right? He might have been like, "Give me a second chance," because he might have been like, "Whoo." She didn't do the best research.
Yeah.
She picked the wrong one, but I could have bit that bait if it was the right circumstance. And now that I know she's capable of being very sneaky, or some might say clever, and I'm like, yo, she got money. You know what I mean? Like, she got $50 to just throw away. I'm like, she got money. Like I didn't know she was capable of this. So he might have been like doing some dirt. And now but he didn't get caught. He didn't get caught. He might be on the way home down, and his homeboy's like, tell me why, bro. I told you not to mess with the clientele. I told you. Like, yeah, you did tell me that, dog. She almost got me. She almost got me.
Yeah.
So that could have been a reason why he's like, yeah, let's get a second chance out there.
No, I think at the core, really, that was one of those things where, like, it seems like young dumb love, that literally they are into each other, but they were very insecure. Well, she was insecure about the fact that he was around other women, and that's a thing that you see happen with men too, where men are insecure around women, especially when you're talking about like Instagram and stuff like that, where people are giving you a lot of attention just for existing.
Thirst traps.
So yeah, I think that's a very feasible thing that, you know, could happen to either gender. I do have a question though, and pivoting it a little bit.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on long distance relationships? Are they possible? Or are they susceptible to this exact same thing?
I'll be honest, I don't think they're possible. Because there's already a level of insecurity when the two people are together. And they have to, like, we can even take the scenario, hey, I'm a gym instructor, and she might be like IG model or something, like that, right? There's already insecurities together. And I probably see you all the time.
Yeah.
So being apart, it just makes it, I think, harder to, one, trust, and then two, I know a lot of the times people need that person within arm's reach, right? Like, so, like, say if I need a hug, or I need some love, or I need some sex, or whatever it is that you need, you're able to get that from your partner easier when they're around you.
Yeah, but
so if it's long distance, it's like, yo, I might need some love right now. I like had a tough day. I can see someone falling into an issue where my partner lives however far. I can't get to them, so you rely on someone else. And then even if it's innocent, right, it could grow as more of that time is spent apart.
Yeah.
So I think long distance is very shaky realm to be in, I think.
I would argue both facts. I think it does give it adds more trouble to the relationship. So my opinion is, I think long distance is better suited if you are already in a relationship with this person. You've built up a certain level of understanding of this person or whatever. And I think it's like, you know, if you're like a long-term couple and one person needs to work in another area, whatever. Like, or people in the military is another example where you're like, you're getting sent away, or any job that moves you around. So I think it's a thing. I think it's not easy when you're starting, like, to start a long distance relationship. It's tough because you'll always be that question, to your point. But I do think it's possible. I do think it requires a level of healthy communication and trust.
Well, and piggybacking off what you're saying, I think there is something to be said if there's more involved. Like, say, like you said, they're married and someone is in the army or something like that, and maybe they have kids and stuff like that. That's a different situation where I think you can make that work, because as an army person, they move around a lot, right? So I can see them being able to handle that, because you already, like you said, you're already been together and da-da-da. But like a fresh relationship, or maybe y'all been talking for like, I don't know, a year, and then that person has to go somewhere. That bond has to be strong enough for that to work long distance.
But even then, I feel like it not even more than the bond. I think it's a communication, man, because you have to be able to communicate with this person, because it's like when you're sending an email to somebody, it's very hard to understand tone, because you're looking at text and just interpreting it. Versus if you're talking to them on TV, on FaceTime, or you're talking to them on whatever, Zoom or whatever, right? Or even in person, you can read. There's a lot more things, or a lot more information that you can gain from looking at them. You can get more information than just reading it in text. So I think
Body language,
that is important,
tone.
especially if you're doing long distance, because the things that you may do, it's very easy for someone who has any insecurity to automatically tack on to something negative. So, oh, well, they didn't answer the phone the last 2 times, or they didn't call me back. That generally means that they're doing something wrong. That's a feasible thing that you can have for anybody you care about, that you're like, oh, well, where is this person, right? And then now that you can't, there's not like a, for all intents and purposes, like a bookend to your day where you're like, okay, at least if I don't talk to them in the middle of the day, I'm going to see them at the end of the night, right? Like you guys live together, or I'm going to see them on the weekend. It could be a longer time period. So then that just builds. And if you're not willing to say, hey, are you okay? What's going on? I haven't heard from you. This is how I feel like when I don't hear from you at all. If you can't have that conversation, then you're probably going to end up in a space where it feels like they're distancing themselves from you. And so that's at the core, I feel like that's one of those things where you literally have to be able to have those conversations. If not, then you're kind of going to have issues.
Do you think building a schedule is doing too much?
It depends.
Because if you're saying we have to, like, oh, this person might be doing something and I can't reach them, so now I'm thinking that something is up. Do you think you could resolve that by having a schedule?
Somewhat. I mean, it's a very
that's
autonomous way of, like, not autonomous is not the right word, but it feels very like, oh, this is kind of super scheduled. That's not a good example, but essentially it feels very rigid.
Rigid is the word I was thinking.
The truth of it is, like, if you're dealing with any kind of real world situation, any schedule you plan, something can break it up. So I think that's why it's important that communication is a thing. Especially, like, communication is a thing, especially if there's any distance.
Well, and that's, so I've been in situations where I'm like, hey, I communicated that, and it was still a problem because they felt disrespected. They're like, oh, well, then that means you don't have time for me. I'm like, no, when these hours, I'm doing this thing. And so I'm like, I feel like the communication can only get you but so far.
No, but you also have to find people that you can communicate with, right? Like, they talk about communication being a two-way street, right? But if your communication is the style of a regular street and their communication is the style of a bike path, you're not on the same page, right? Like, you're literally, it's like, oh, your communication goes this way and theirs goes up, right? Like,
and around.
It doesn't work. And I think that's one of the things that you're supposed to be trying to suss out at the beginning of the relationship. How does this person expect, like, the whole love languages thing is a good way of saying, okay, well, how do our, weird brain way put this into a bucket that we understand? This person needs this in order to feel like I am interested. They need this to feel that I care about them, right? Like, those are the parts you're supposed to be figuring out. And I think a lot of times people don't do that. And so then when things don't go right, you're like, oh, well, this is evident that this is what this person's issues are or whatever. So,
well, I've heard an argument of the person is like, we need, and not me, but like just a friend. We need more spontaneity because they don't want to be told everything. They want to feel like it's not like, so for example, I know some people who are like, hey, what do you want to eat? And the girl is like, you always checking in with me. You always, why can't you just bring me some food? And I'm like, but then if he brings the food and you don't like it, you don't want to eat it, we just wait. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, but some people want the, oh, why you always trying to make sure, like almost like a controlling factor. You're trying to control everything. And it's like, no, I'm communicating.
Isn't bringing food that I want that you may not want, is not more controlling than checking in?
So hold on, me bringing food that,
like you said, oh, just bring the food, right?
Okay.
But you brought food that you thought you might want, right? But they don't want.
Well, you're supposed to bring the food that you're supposed to know what they want.
Yeah, I think we need to throw that out the window. I think there's a lot of like, there's a lot of fairy tale Disney stuff here, and I don't see anybody out here kissing frogs. So it's time to like, grow up and act like adults, because I can't read your mind, and you can't read my mind. So if there's something that we're having issues with, we should be able to communicate through that. And if we're not doing that, then it's guaranteed to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed. I'm sorry. It's just maybe you know what? If I'm wrong, please jump. Let me know. Let's have the conversation. I don't ascribe or suggest that I'm an expert here. I just, my limited years of experience in this world has shown me that like certain things work and certain things don't.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be a whole other world of people that are doing things in a way that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
So I'm always open to being told I'm wrong. But based on what I've seen, I would say 90% of the problems in relationships are based on inability to communicate effectively.
It just, you know why I feel some type of way about that when you say that? Because everybody's been talking about communication. Like, it's been like at the forefront of conversations. But yeah, it seems like nobody's communicating. But everybody knows communication is 100% what you need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if everybody knows this, then why isn't everybody communicating?
Because I think at the core, the idea of communication is such a vast and large thing that it's not something you could just fully define. It's like, how people use the term gaslighting so much these days? I don't think an average people really understand the full grasp of what it means for gaslighting, because they're like, oh, you're gaslighting me. I'm like, okay, what does that mean exactly? And I think when you think about communication, everybody thinks about communication as linear, like left to right, right? But there's more to communication, to the point where it's like, this is how this person interprets when I say this, right? There's more. People look at a communication like if it's, shooting a free throw, and it's really like playing tennis with a partner with 4 people. That's actually what it's more like. Like if you're doing doubles and tennis, where you like literally need to be able to understand, I'm going to be on this side while you're on that side, so that we can cover this thing. And if it crosses close to the middle, I need to know how to do. Like there's just it's more complex. So yes, people are talking about it, especially as we go down the realm of emotional awareness and mental health. I think it's a factor of that. But I think just like with some of these words, they've become very cliche, so that people are not doing the work to figure out what that means.
You saying they have a basic understanding of it, but they're not actually putting it into place.
Yeah, I think it's like, we say this. It's like, once you, like, for example, once you figure out how to tie your shoe, you don't think of different ways to tie your shoe, right? Like you just tie your shoe. And it's kind of like that. Somebody tells you like this is a thing, and then you just do that. And then if you look at a lot of, and this is not everybody, but if you look at a lot of people and how they determine how they choose a significant other, it's always based on things that it's like surface level. You look at, the attractiveness of this person. You look at
money.
Well, yeah, their resources and what they can bring to the table. But you don't look at, well, this person matches with me and it makes a good partner. Their ideals match when it comes to raising kids. Their ideals match when it comes to money, when it comes to priorities. Like, so you end up getting with somebody who focuses just, only about money, and then you're mad that the person is working all the time. But it's like the focus was money. They only wanted money. So like these things that like are so weird that we have such a hard time figuring out at a point in society where we figured out how to put people on the moon, right? Like we figured out some very complex things, but yet we haven't figured out how to do things that should be a requirement just for living daily. So,
and another thing I would add to it is, yeah, communication can be a thing, but I feel like people change their mind too.
But if it's communicated, then it's better.
Well, I didn't know I changed my mind until this very moment.
Yeah, but if it's communicated, it's still. I'm sorry, you're never gonna.
You're staying with the same energy.
You're not gonna get me to change because I think that if we are talking to each other, and we are in a space where you're willing to be vulnerable and accept that you're wrong, and accept that your whole framework on what you call is correct may just be based on incorrect information. If you're willing to do that with somebody and the person's willing to do the same, you have high potential.
Okay, I got another one.
Okay.
I was waiting for the right time.
What's the right time?
When I dictate it's the right time.
But if you're not communicating,
I can't communicate it yet because it's not the right time.
But you understand that by going down the path of saying I'm waiting for the right time, you are choosing to remove information that the other person needs to operate.
But based on what you have going on in your life right now, you don't need this to sidetrack what you need to do. For example,
okay,
hear me out, because I see you pushing back.
I'm
trying to get you out of here, though. I'm trying to get them out of here, man.
It's not gonna work.
So hey, you got a big project, right? As your significant other, I know you got a big project, but there's something that me and you need to work on. But I know if I bring this to the table right now, it's going to affect you handling the project, and we could say this is a 100K project. You got to finish this deal, say within the next week. This is an issue that we need to address, but I'm not going to address it this week. I'm going to address it next week after you finish the deal.
As long as you're having that conversation at some point, then it's fine.
If you're having it at some point.
Because here's the thing. If it's an issue, right? You're saying this is an issue and this is a recurring issue. And the timing of bringing this up doesn't work for whatever reason. I still do argue that like sometimes it's not, you are perceiving that's not the right time, but it may be the right time. But either way, if you're not bringing it up at all, then you're hiding the information that is necessary for you to do what you need to do.
Keyword, you said hiding.
Yes.
I'm not hiding the information.
You're choosing to not share the information. Okay, perfect example. If you're at work, right?
Okay.
We brought the project thing, but you're at work, right? And your boss tells you, hey, we need to do this thing. But they don't tell you that if you don't do this thing, we could technically lose our jobs.
Okay.
How do you feel when you find out that this was make or break and you only put in partial effort because this just seems like a regular request, but it could affect your whole livelihood?
Then that's omitting of information.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? One, it's work related.
No. Don't change the context.
One is work related.
It's the same thing.
I don't know necessarily if it's the same thing because the only reason why I say that is because that's more from like a logical work thing, but like from an emotional standpoint, I think it might be different. Like I was gonna add more to it, right? So say you have the project, right? And you tank the project. You failed, you lost 100K. Now you're in the dumps. I would not bring more stuff to the table that's going to make you feel even worse. But that's an emotional thing, right?
Correct.
So that's why I say it's different from your scenario with the work thing.
But how long would you have waited then? So like if this is an issue, how long would you wait before bringing it up, knowing that like you were waiting for the right time, and now the right time can be extended 6 months, and now you're more frustrated about the fact that you didn't resolve the issue right away.
And that's why I'm saying that's a scenario though. And that's where it could boil up to, right? And so I'm like, should you kick a man while he's down or a woman? Would you prefer that?
Well, I think that if you set up a space where you're having these conversations regularly, then you don't need to wait for the right time. I remember there was a story this guy had told, I think my aunt at one point, about the fact that like he never has arguments with his wife. Like how's that possible? He's like, yeah, literally every week they set aside time to discuss any issues, right?
Schedule.
And but it's also scheduled communication. So they set aside the time to have any conversation, knowing that if there's something that wasn't the right time to talk about it during the week, they at least have a designated time to talk about it.
I like that.
So that's one. And two, I think at the core, if you're with someone who you have created the bond on knowing, and this is hard. It's something I have had to go through too, where it's like, you know that this person's bringing you their point of view, but it's never from a negative point. Like, it's just like they care enough about you. So to give you the information that you feel like that someone who's not that close will not give you. That's important information to get. And sometimes it's hard to receive it from people who are closest to you, but you need it. Right.
Right.
So I think that just goes back to the communication thing. Like, I think that is going to ironically be the theme of this whole conversation is that, communication is important. It's as important as love. I would say
Communication is more important than love.
I was gonna say, like, if you're looking at a fire burning, communication is the wood to that fire. Is the fuel to that fire.
Bars.
You know, I think it's a big deal, and I think it's overlooked a lot of times because you're seeing the fire burning, right? You're seeing the spark is whatever got you guys together, and there's a fire burning. But, like, you know, if you suffocate that fire by not giving it communication, fire's gonna go out.
Okay.
So, and then you're paying somebody $50 to see if you'll cheat. You know,
So back to that. Is it simping or not that he's one jumping out there almost? He's apologizing. I don't
think it's simping. For one reason, I think that they clearly are both very toxic in there.
How is he toxic?
Because he chose someone that he's had to tolerate all of this back and forth, right?
Okay.
There's a level of acceptance of toxicity that means that you're a willing participant in the toxic behavior. And I feel like he's a willing participant in the toxic behavior.
But I love her.
Some people believe that. I remember this one friend I used to have, and she told me, like, if my person isn't arguing with me, it means they don't love me.
See? But then you have this other couple, they never argue. So
correct. Which one do you want to be with? Do you want to be with somebody that's arguing all the time? Because I absolutely don't. I remember one person I was talking to, and the whole time I was with her, she was complaining. She's arguing about different stuff
all the time.
Literally, everything was an argument. And I'm like, but why? Why are you so, like, we have the pressures of the world on us. You go to work every day and you have to deal with people that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
But you get paid to do that, so you have to do it, right?
$50.
You have more than $50, I hope, every day. I hope. You know? But you have to deal with that. You have to deal with the pressures of going out into the world and making something of the world, making an impact if you want to. Do you want to then come home and argue with somebody on top of that too?
Hell no.
So why would you choose somebody that brings that into your life?
Well, maybe the other thing supersedes that.
What other thing?
Other things, like how they make you feel outside of the argument.
They make you feel irritated because you're consistently arguing with them.
So I'm just saying, like, it might not even be a consistent argument.
Yeah, I know.
It could be like, yo, we argue more than normal, but it's not like crazy.
I think there's an expectation sometimes that you're supposed to argue.
I think so too, because you don't love me if you don't argue with me. Right?
Personally, I don't think that's necessary. I do think there are going to be arguments. I don't think that there's a space where there's zero arguments. I thought that guy was lying, but I think what he was saying was.
You thought that guy was lying?
I thought he was lying. I thought he was lying.
You didn't add that earlier.
I literally was just like, how did you come up with this? But honestly, he probably found somebody who communicates in a way that works for them, right? Like, and that's why I think you see some of the most toxic people with people who are like this situation. I think that girl's super toxic. I think he's also willing to deal with the toxicity. Yeah. So does that make him a simp? No, I don't think so. I think the idea that he would be willing to go back to her after knowing that she did something like that, it comes off a little simpy, but I don't necessarily see that a thing. I see that It's just like the person, like, there are a lot of men that would take back a woman that's cheated on them.
Yes. I guess my part of the simping is not necessarily him wanting to take her back. It's the fact that he's the one
Asking for
who's
it.
asking it and initiating it. Because even she's like, she feels weird, not only for the situation, but she's like, I feel like I should be earning this.
But then I mean,
I should be earning the second
still,
chance.
she might still be earning it, right? Because honestly, if you think about it, this is why I say he's a little toxic. By him wanting to go back so easily, I think he's going to use that as an opportunity in the future.
And I wanted to get back to that. I wanted to get to that, actually.
Okay.
So we're back together. How much leverage do I have right now?
A lot of leverage. That's a lot of leverage. But at the core, I can understand why he would want to go back to that situation, because it's nothing like someone telling you you're wrong and you get to prove them you're wrong. You got to prove you're wrong, right?
Yeah.
You are wrong, and I know you're wrong.
And you know I know you wrong.
And you have admitted that I'm wrong, that you're wrong. So what are we talking about? I mean, he could go out there and be a demon now, and he can't do no wrong.
And so I'm conflicted about that, right? Because I do think it's an issue of like using that to your advantage and abusing it to a certain extent.
It's highly likely.
And I'm like, on the other side, there are people who cheat and they're like, hey, I apologize, but you shouldn't, the relationship isn't going to grow if you keep bringing it up every year. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, I do think he has to put out a little bit of discipline, but he can't abuse it to the point where he's like every year or every time she makes a mistake, he brings up, remember that $50?
He shouldn't, but I mean, we're humans. There's a likelihood of it. Every time she gets, I'm like, remember what happened last time? I mean, that's like literally, we were raised that way, right? Like, don't do this thing. Don't touch the stove. You touch the stove, hey,
see what happens when you touch the stove?
So, I mean, we could go on and on for this for a very long time. I just think at the core, actually, I didn't get your opinion about whether or not you thought it was simping. Ooh.
I want to be clear. The simping part is him not making her earn the second chance.
But what does that look like?
That looks like allowing her to say, hey, can you take me back? Like, that's what that looks like.
But if we understand that, like, she was wrong in the situation and she did something that she shouldn't have done, why am I waiting for her to say exactly, oh, are you gonna take me back? When I'm like,
I'm already gonna take you back.
I'm already gonna take you back. I've literally got on this show to go and defend my position. So clearly I care, right? So how is that simping?
I mean, I think it still is, but he still might be like, hey, if I don't say anything, this will be dead. Right?
Possibly,
like she's not going to put her ego to the side. Because you already said I'm sorry, which he acknowledged, look, hey, it's a big thing to say I'm sorry.
Which I don't think it was, but
I'm like, it's not a big thing when you clearly been
goddamn
outed
wrong.
as wrong.
You are wrong.
But
go
see,
ahead.
that's where the simping nature is coming out of him, right? It's seeping out of his pores. And I'm like, he might understand, like, hey, if I don't say anything, she's just going to let this go and let it die. Which the sipping part is like, well, then if you know that's how she is, why are you taking her back?
But I think this is an assumed simping here because
I'm okay with that. Assumed simping.
Yeah. I just think that if you look at, there are hard guidelines that everyone lives by until it's them. There's I'm never going to do this thing until you're in that situation. And we don't know what that situation is, right? If you think about this guy, he may have said, I'll never deal with this kind of stuff again. But then he started going on dates with the girls that were being paid $50 and was like, you know what?
I miss her.
She's crazy, but she's my kind of crazy.
Yeah. He said, I miss you.
And I'm willing to deal with that. And it comes down to it, what is everybody willing to deal with? And that's why I said he's a little bit toxic.
We got to find out what
I gotta reach
2
out to
years
this guy.
later, like, where's
Reach out to this guy and see, because I mean, we were making a lot of assumptions here. I just think in everybody's shoes, it's gonna be different. And honestly, I look at it like it's very feasible to think that if I were in that situation, knowing that like I couldn't tolerate that level of toxicity, I can see myself taking it back. But then I also wouldn't go on the show.
True.
So by going on the show, I feel like there was automatically a space of like it's gonna fix itself. So. But we've gone on and on and on and on and on and on and on about this. So it's time to end this wonderful show. Shout out to the people that are, dealing with $50 seducers out there. Like, keep your head up, man.
Yeah, watch out.
Just,
Keep your ear to the streets.
If it feels wrong, ask if she has $50 in her pocket.
Who gave it to her?
Where did this come from? Anyway, on a serious note, this has been another episode of Juxtaposed. Good conversation. Didn't think it would have gone this long.
Yeah,
we went deep on this one. But shout out to the people that made it this far. Definitely give us a like. If you think we're all wrong and out of our minds and dude's not toxic or simping, please let us know. If you think that he is a simp and
he need to know his worth, king.
Yeah, he gotta, raise the dead of Kevin Samuels. Like if that is the case, let us know too. Preferably in Discord, in the comments too. We appreciate it. But it's been another episode of Juxtaposed. Peace.
Peace.